And this is actually what I say to all designers. Don't try to please people. Stay true to yourself and find the people who will enjoy what you create and who will love you for your own vision.
Women in jewelry are passionate and cultured, intelligent and creative, hardworking and imaginative. They are brilliant. We imagine the world of jewelry as a dreamy and opulent industry. The reality is different. It is a world that demands excellence in all areas. A world of hard work from artisans with fairy-like hands to international groups that reign supreme. In this evolving sector, women had to forge their way, and they succeeded because they are brilliant. In this podcast, Brillante, I will take you not behind the scenes, but into the reality of the world of jewelry by interviewing women in the jewelry industry. Each time, I ask them to give advice to young ladies who might be tempted by the world where the glitter of the shop windows hide the demand of the work and personal investment, so that the next generation can prepare to become brilliant. Today, I'm with a brilliant woman in jewelry, Katerina Perez. Hello, Katerina.
Hello, everybody.
The first question I ask for everybody, what is your most precious memory?
I think there's many of them, but if we talk about the first one, I guess it's the time when I spent hours going through my grandmother's jewelry box and trying all the treasures I can find there. Necklaces, rings, earrings, I would layer them into different ensembles of combinations of colors and textures. And I used to spend hours also looking through them just to admire the sparkle and the colors. So I think this would be the one.
And you would try all the jewels in the box?
Yes, whatever I find there. I wasn't shy with my styling choices. Already then, I was trying my own way of wearing jewelry. And I have this picture of me when I'm 3 years old, decked in my grandmother's jewelry head to toe. And I actually discovered it after I started writing about jewelry. And that gave me an idea that when people ask me, oh, how did your love for jewelry start? I can just show that picture and say, look, it was meant to be that way all my life. I'm lucky that I discovered my passion in life and I continue.
I admire you because you created an e-magazine. You're the first Instagram jewelry influencer. You created a newsletter and a digital training course for jewelers. You coach brands on their communication and you are publishing a book. You are a speaker for major international jewelry fairs and a judge for jewelry competition. So in all that, how do you define your job?
Definitely multifaceted. The beauty of what I do is that I can explore jewelry in so many different ways. And you've named some of them, but also, for example, my job as a content creator also encapsulates so many different professions, like a writer's profession. Content creator includes taking videos, editing videos, coming up with different scenarios for those videos, being creative. I'm also a photographer of jewelry for my social media, so I've learned that as well. I've learned how to run a business because, let's face it, what we do now as influencers, it's also a business because we have to live off what we do. I also manage a team of 11 people, so I had to learn the skills of a manager and a leader. So there are so many things that I have to do in my profession, but that's actually what makes it so exciting.
You recently celebrated your work anniversary. 10 years.
Yeah.
What are you the most proud about?
Oh, I think there's been many moments when I felt like all my efforts were worth it. Of course, as a girl, one of my dreams came true is being on the red carpet. I've been to several events with the red carpet. I've achieved, I've received several awards as well as a jewelry influencer. But I think the biggest achievement is when I receive messages from my followers saying, oh, because of you, I started a gemology course. Oh, because of you, I took interest in jewelry design and now look at my work. Because of you, I took interest in jewelry and I found that dream jewel on your Instagram. Frankly, this is what really drives me and makes me continue.
When you think back at the beginning, what is the first thing you did to create your empire?
Well, the first thing was to find the courage to actually speak about jewelry publicly. And frankly, I'm not a journalist who studied to be a writer. I started writing out of passion. And, when you do something from the heart and soul, but you don't feel like you do it because you are entitled to do it, of course, it's quite scary from the beginning. And in my line of work, I spent 2 years of proving that I'm worth something. And of course, exploring my own path, understanding what kind of jewelry I like, what jewelry I want to write about, how I want to write about it, learning different skills as well. Because, of course, what started as passion, I wanted to do it professionally and I wanted to inspire more and more women understand jewelry, love it, wear it, and do it through the right message about jewelry. So.
Were you intimidated when you were first approached by big brands to collaborate or to visit the luxury shops at Place Vendôme or offered the opportunity to wear these rare haute joaillerie pieces?
Frankly, never, because I guess you get intimidated if you try to do it for the reason of impressing somebody or something like this. For me, it was just a journey of my passion and exploring the jewelry world. And even if you go on my Instagram right now, you'll see a mix of companies, a mix of brands that I feature. And more often, I would feature some niche jewelries and some smaller jewelers who deserve to be known rather than big brands. So frankly, big brands never intimidated me, rather inspired me because they have the opportunity to do collections which are, broadening the horizons of jewelry designs, which are splendid, resplendent with gemstones, which have a very original approach to jewelry design and so on. But in terms of intimidation, no.
How did you manage at the beginning to convince the brand to let you photograph, wear, and be invited to events like Fashion Week?
What helped me in the beginning, and I think that was something that really contributed to my journey as a jewelry writer, is that I was already writing for a magazine then. So in the beginning, I was writing for a magazine published in London, which wasn't about jewelry, but I was editing the jewelry section. And of course, when I started writing about jewelry online 10 years ago, all the big brands or smaller brands, no one understood why would someone want to write about jewelry online? What is Instagram? So this was my biggest challenge, to actually prove that online is as important as print media. But of course, if I was saying, oh, I'm coming here on behalf of my website, no one would want to see me. But because I was coming on behalf of the magazine and I was editing that section, that opened the doors for me. So I think that was a pivotal moment that I was able to use this position as a jewelry editor in a smaller publication, but a printed one, to study what I can use for my website in the future. You see, in the beginning, it was very tough.
Yeah.
For the reason that no one really wanted to see jewelry online and no one understood why it needs to be there. But I felt from the very beginning that this is the best platform for me because I can talk to the whole world about jewelry. I can reach any jewelry lover in America, in Australia, in any part of the world, whoever has the phone in their hand. So I'm glad that I was staying true to my vision and that I didn't give up when I was hearing, no, like we can't have you at this viewing, or we can't provide you jewelry for the shoot or something like this. I just waited and I did my best with everything I could. And look, it worked out in the end.
What is the moment during these 10 years when you realized you accomplished success and made it?
I think one of the first times when I felt that, okay, I'm achieving something is that when I hired my first full-time employee. Because, of course, as a blogger in the beginning, it was just myself. And work of blogger encompasses so many different professions. And at the end of the day, you become burnout because you have to do so many things as one person. And especially, so I started writing when I was still in retail because it was a passion. When I saw the results, I decided to leave my retail work. I was managing boutiques and selling, and I decided to go fully into my passion and keep on writing. And again, at first, I was on my own. And I did reach that point 3 years when I saw success. I saw the growth of my social media, growth of my website, but also signs of burnout because it was just too much for one person. And mind you, that time I was writing in 2 languages. All my content was in Russian and English. I'm Russian by origin. And that time I thought, okay, it's either I'm going to have to stop this because I can't do this physically, or I have to find other solutions. And I realized that, okay, I'm going to hire someone to help me in terms of business, just to consult me, because I come from creative background. I don't claim to be, at that time, I didn't claim to be a business person. I didn't know how to run a business. Now, of course, it's a different story. And that's why I hired a consultant who actually did something for my business that turned it around. They did like a competitive analysis for me without naming any names, but just showing me that, in fact, I was charging, at that time, I was already charging a small fee for my services. I was charging the least of everyone, but my quality was the best of anyone. So that's why I raised my prices twice. And thanks to that, I was able to generate more revenue and hire my first full-time employee. And that was the moment when I realized, okay, if I can have a team of people who support me and help me run my business every day, I can do more. I can have balance in my life as well. I can stay motivated, excited about jewelry, and enjoy the process, because that's very important for me to do it from the heart and from the love for jewelry, rather than, I have to create this content because, I don't know, this company is paying me for posts or anything like that. It has to always be related to passion, first of all, and desire to share the beauty of jewelry. And after, I think it's, as I said, the milestones, like receiving an award, being invited to be a judge, first time being a speaker at a jewelry exhibition. I'll never forget the time. It was, I think, 2 years after I started writing that I was invited to be a speaker at IGL exhibition. And I was talking about social media, because even then Instagram was a mystery for many people. There were 3 of us on a panel, and our talk was the most visited from the whole exhibition. And then they invited me next year and the year after. And every year my talk was the most visited because people were interested in social media, how to crack it on Instagram. And of course, things like being written about in a magazine, having the opportunity to write for magazines that I've dreamt about, like, I don't know, Vogue Arabia or Rob Report, and, some important magazines. It was for me a sign of validation. It meant that, okay, finally I'm considered as equal, or as someone who does work which is respected. And of course, starting from zero, that meant a lot to me. So I get excited about things even now, if I get to write for an important magazine, if I get an article about me, if I go to the red carpet, if I get a speaking session, if I get to be a judge, it happens regularly now, but every time is like the first time. And that's why I love it so much.
Now, what makes you happiest? Out of all your roles, from writing, consulting, content creation, what is your favorite part?
I think it's the variety of things that I get to do. It's also the fact that I have an opportunity to travel the world. And for me, it's very exciting to actually explore different cultures through jewelry, to explore different customs and habits and how people wear jewelry, why they wear it in the such and such way, how they style it, what it means to them. Also to discover personalities through jewelry, because when I go and meet a designer, I have a long talk to them about their life, their passion, their journey, to understand why their jewelry has certain style, because they always put their heart and soul in what they do and a bit of their personality and their DNA. So for me, jewelry is not just a tool that makes us look pretty, that enhances a woman's look, but it's also a way to tell stories, to talk about different cultures. It's the way to express personalities. It's to share some sentiments. Jewelry has so much meaning. And I believe that the more I do this work, the more I explore it from so many different angles. And I want to carry on doing that.
Your latest accomplishment is the launch of your new book, Paraiba, The Legacy of Color.
Yeah, this wonderful gem. Mm-hmm.
Tell us about it.
Well, actually, it came together quite nicely. I wrote it with Kevin Ferreira, who is still in the mining business, him and his family. They mine and sell Paribas. And obviously, from his angle, he understands the whole journey of the stone being mined and cut and then sold. When I came to do this book as a specialist in jewelry design and what happens to the stone after, I wrote about designing with Paribas, about red carpet and auctions. And this is why it makes it so beautiful, because we took two specialists in different in different areas of the same and brought our knowledge together and shared the passion. I loved Kevin's passion for the stone and his desire to share knowledge. And this is also the core of what I do. Not just show the bling bling, but also explain lots of details about jewelry and to let people get to know gemstones and jewelry better. And 2 years of work of this book. And yes, it was launched in Paris at the Ritz Hotel, where normally I go for jewelry presentations, and suddenly I'm there presenting, a project which I'm a big part of. And that was, again, if we talk about accomplishments, that was a huge milestone for me, because I've always dreamt about writing a book. But since I travel so much, I simply don't have time to do that. And this time, because it was half of the book, okay, it wasn't the full one, I could do that. And I did it with so much pleasure that I think now is the time when I invest necessary hours of my day to actually write a book of my own. That book, of course, there are two writers, but obviously there's so much work that goes behind the book. We were lucky to have Caro Carlos, who did the creative direction of the book, the layouts, and make it look all pretty. We had Carlos Torres, who really helped with organizing the whole process and put together the events and connect with even some designers and throw some of his ideas. We had Barbara, who made amazing illustrations as well. And the funny part, she came to the event and she did an illustration for me within like 20 minutes, such a beautiful brooch. And I was like, wow, Moon, you're an amazing one. It's a joint effort. Writing a book, spending 2 years on this, creating the look of the book and gathering all the information, putting together is a huge job. And now, it's like giving a birth to a baby. Work starts once it's born. So now the book is there, it's launched, and the work starts now.
I got an insider scoop that you are preparing a Katerina Club?
Yes. Oh, news travel fast. For 2025, I'm actually relaunching my website, because it's been 7 years since I haven't done many changes, and I felt like it's the right time to upgrade it and make it even more exclusive in a way. So I really want to offer something special to those who love jewelry as much as I do and who want to know more about it. And on the website, you'll have Katerina's Club, which is a private section, private members club, where people will be able to access extra articles, which are only available for them. They'll be able to get access to brands as well if they want to buy jewelry and ask them something directly. It will be a section where I'll be doing monthly talks with industry specialists and those who are passionate about jewelry to advise on jewelry styling, talk about jewelry history, different interesting events happening. So a bit of exclusivity for my audience. Anyone who will want to join will be welcome. They'll just need to register on the website, and there is a fee involved, but very, very affordable one. So that all together we can come and have this club, which will drive people's passion to learn more about jewelry.
You launched 2 online courses, How to Sell Jewelry on Instagram and Brilliant Content. Can you explain the difference of the two?
So during COVID, when we all got stuck in our houses, we obviously had lots of time to spend in front of our computers, learn new skills, and rethink what we're going to do with our businesses in the future, because all of us were in the same boat, feeling a bit anxious about what the future holds. And I felt that that was the right time to really share my knowledge, because I've started Instagram without knowing what I'm doing, and through trial and error, through passion for learning, and through different courses which I've personally been to, taking all this knowledge, putting it into practice, seeing the results, I've accumulated such a wealth of practical and exclusive knowledge about Instagram that I decided to start a course. My first course was called How to Sell Jewelry on Instagram. I still consult brands on this matter, but I don't run the course anymore because, again, I went back to traveling, and now I travel 2-3 times a month, and I simply don't have time to be there with the audience who is learning. But in the future, maybe it will be possible again. The second course was called Brilliant Content, and that was mostly focused on how to create content for Instagram, what kind of content is trending, how to actually physically do it. I was given tools on even what equipment one needs to have, and what's the difference between creating content for the feed, for reels, for stories, for lives, and so on. So these are the two of my educational products which I've created, but I'm going to continue in the future when I travel a bit less.
Social media is always evolving. What advice can you share to stay current with the trends?
I think it's very simple but very difficult advice is to stay consistent. I've noticed that many jewelers, they want to succeed on Instagram, but they start posting erratically once a week, not really focusing on utilizing all the tools that Instagram offers, like stories and feed and reels. Instagram loves it when you are present on the social media, on this channel, when you interact with the audience, when you're active on your direct messages, when you share content. And the more active you are, the more results you get. My advice would be also to strategize actions, because for a company, it's very difficult to create new designs, speak with clients, do events, and then run Instagram every day. It's crazy amount of work. So if they could spend a few days a month where they focus specifically on creating content and preparing captions and scheduling everything, they give their 100% to social media, and then they just continue posting because they can use pre-posting tools. I personally use a tool called Iconosquare. It's a platform where you can store all your content, where you can pre-plan everything, see the layout of your future posts, where you can prepare the captions. It also has the inbuilt AI tool that helps you to write those captions, that helps you to generate hashtags. You can do so much on it to already build your feed for the month in advance, and then just go and post when it's the right time. It also has an app that you put on your phone. So whenever you need to post, it sends you a notification. So it has everything to make your life easier in terms of content sharing.
Your newsletter is essential in your social media strategy. How is it impactful?
Exactly. And funny enough, it took me a while to understand that I really need it. I was against it in my first few years. And then when when the newsletter editor Claire came on board, she's like, okay, let's do it. Let me edit it, and then you'll see the result. And actually, there was a good result. People sign up every day for a newsletter, and I believe it's a great way of communication for me. In the newsletter, I don't only focus on what happens on my website. Of course, I give people an overview what they've missed if they haven't been to the website. But also, I like to highlight some amazing designers. I want to highlight some brands to watch. I want to also share some articles which I felt valuable reading from other websites. So it's a newsletter that has a bit of jewelry news, but also what they've missed off my website.
How do you keep your audience loyal with your newsletter?
It's difficult to say, but honestly, the opening rate of my newsletter is really good. I think it's the way for people to have a quick glimpse into the world of jewelry, because they can have an overview of what's happening just by reading the titles of what I've written about. And everyone wants to have information quick, right? To quickly look and understand. So this is the way for them to actually have a quick overview of what's happening in the jewelry world.
Your strategy is focused on personal branding. Katerina Perez website, Eye of Katerina, and Katerina courses. What is the advantage and disadvantage?
I like it how now we can talk about the strategy. When I started my work, it was merely an intuition. I was thinking, how shall I call my website and what I do? Jewelry blog, jewelry explorations, or whatever it could be. And I thought it's such a personal journey of mine. The views are my own. It's my expertise that I share. And I felt it was the most organic to call it my name, just my explorations in the jewelry world. And actually, it worked a lot in my favor, because people want to learn from other people. People want to buy from other people. People want to connect with other people, and not just a soulless entity, a company or a brand. And thanks to that, I've always had loyal followers, loyal readers, those who approach me at exhibitions. They feel comfortable talking to me because they know that I'm behind everything what happens on my channels. They know the person behind it, and they know my standards, my view on jewelry. So there's a lot of trust between me and my audience. So I believe I chose subconsciously the right strategy for myself.
Do you have any haters?
Honestly, possibly. I mean, I think every successful person has haters, but lucky for me, they don't really show themselves. In my line of work, I'm not blogging about me. It's not me. It's about jewelry. I'm just your guide in the world of jewelry. So frankly, what I hear from time to time is that people comment that, oh my God, the jewelry is unwearable. Oh, this is too much. But my answer to this is, come on, guys, we women wear stilettos to important events. Are they uncomfortable? Not at all. Do we wear them? Yes, sure, because we want to make an impression. So with high jewelry, often it's the same. It's not for comfort. You don't wear a huge necklace to feel comfortable or go and wash your dishes, right? You want to come in the room, make an impression, make heads turn, and it helps you to achieve that effect. But otherwise, look, if we talk honestly, of course, there is people who want me to express my opinion on political subjects because I have huge audience. And what I hear is like, oh, you have so many people, but you're quiet about this and this and this event. But my role here is not to talk about what happens in the world. I'm a jewelry blogger. I'm here to bring you the overview of beauty of high jewelry, and I need to stay focused on what I'm doing best, because at the same time I need to protect my audience from the outside world. And it's like my audience is like my family, right? You want to protect your family, and I want this to be a safe place, okay, where people can come, whatever happens in the world, they can come and they feel like they can breathe here, they can enjoy something here, they can feel safe. We all need that in such hard times. And my role is to continue my work no matter what. And frankly, during COVID, it happened first when people were like, oh my God, people are dying and you're showing this jewelry. What is this you're doing? Same people, 2-3 weeks later, came back and said, thank you for giving us this place to breathe. Thank you for continuing this, because we feel a little bit normal when we come here. So, it will always depend on the person and their perception of the world. But my perception is that, this is the place where you see beauty, where you can let yourself dream, where you can feast your eyes, enjoy, and feed your soul. Because, we have food for our body, but we also need to have food for our soul. And beauty is what makes us smile and dream and feel happy.
You present many magnificent jewels. If I was an emerging brand, can I work with you?
Of course, you see lots of new and niche brands on my social, on my website, because for me, it's a pleasure to discover talent. It's not about the how famous the brand or the designer is. It's about what do they bring to the table of jewelry design. Do they have originality? Do they have finesse of their work? Do they have ideas that I haven't seen before? How much of their DNA is in what they create? So it's all about discovering the uniqueness of what they want to offer to the world, rather than thinking, oh, how popular are they and how will it augment my social or my website?
So what is really your mission?
Honestly, it's been clear for me from day one that my role, or why am I doing this, is first of all to inspire women to understand jewelry, to know it, to see it, to enjoy it and wear where they please, to surround themselves with all things precious. And second mission is to, let's call it popularize jewelry. Because we open a magazine, I see lots about fashion, I see lots about travel, beauty, fitness. Where is jewelry in it? Why don't we see enough jewelry in magazines, online, on TV? It's slowly changing. We can really see that nowadays, big fashion houses, they incorporate jewelry as a part of the look. Hence, when we look at the catwalks of, Gucci, Dior, Chanel, there's always beautiful jewelry, Chloe, you name it. There's always beautiful jewelry there. It's not always fine jewelry, and mostly it's not fine jewelry, but it exemplifies that jewelry is a part of one's look. I would love to see jewelry as appreciated and as desired as fashion, as beauty, as travel. I want people to take interest in it. I want them to learn more about it. And I want them to feel comfortable with jewelry. Because for a long time, I remember when I was working in retail 15 years ago, People were even scared to go through the doors of a jewelry boutique. It was intimidating. Jewelry is expensive. Jewelry is something not everyone understands. Why do we have to have it? It's only for special occasion. Well, now we see it's not for special occasion. You can complete your look with jewelry whenever you please. And actually you should, because it's like, for me, I keep on saying this, that for me, jewelry is like lipstick with makeup. You leave the house, you put lipstick on. For me, if I leave the house without jewelry, it's like I forgot to put my lipstick on. It's this finishing touch that makes the look complete.
You mentioned you were writing in a magazine and working in retail. What is your career trajectory?
Retail has been my main career at first. I was in retail selling not just jewelry, but also fashion and beauty products for about 7 years before I went into jewelry. And I was in jewelry retail for another 7 years before I started writing. And actually, the reason why I started writing is when my clients from retail would come to the boutique and they're like, oh, how many carats is this ring and what's the price? But we jewelry professionals or even wider audience now understand that in jewelry, it's not just about carat or gold weight. And it's not directly, it's related to price. It's not just the only thing that affects the price. It's about the originality of the idea, the materials used, how long it took to create the collection, how much efforts had to be spent on the collection, and what are the techniques used there, and so on. And when I was working in retail, of course, I wanted to augment my knowledge about jewelry. I went to study at the Gemological Institute of Great Britain, GMA. I spent 2 years going religiously twice a week after my work at that time it was Tiffany & Co., studying theory and practice about gemstones. And I was actually one of 4 graduated students that year. There were 16 or 20 of us in the class and only 4 graduated because actually it's really tough. You have to incorporate knowledge of physics and chemistry and so many different things in gemology. So I was really proud of myself and I was really excited about the future career. Of course, like few years down the line, I haven't used so much of that knowledge in terms of using spectrometer or whatever other tools there were to identify gemstones. But of course, it helped me a lot in broadening my horizons in terms of what gemstones are there, what are their properties, what's the difference between them. It augmented my knowledge when I can talk about jewelry and gemstones from a professional point of view. And that's why when you come to my website or social media, you don't just learn things that are, oh, it's pretty, it's so sparkly, look at this. I give knowledge because I want to share that knowledge. I want to people to understand jewelry in depth.
I know you worked at Tiffany, Chaumet, Bogossian. Can you tell us more about these experiences?
This is my retail career. I also worked in Osprey, so it was all different boutiques in London where I worked as sales and manager. And this is where I would say my love for jewelry really flourished because I could see so much beautiful, precious designs and see the client's behavior as well, which was also very interesting for me. What kind of jewelry people like, why they like it, what makes them take a decision about buying jewelry. That was great learning curve for me as well as a jewelry specialist to really understand how to talk to the audience because my clients were my audience. And funny enough, the reason why I started writing about jewelry is that my clients from retail were telling me, oh my God, we love receiving your emails. You write so well. I'm like, seriously? And I was passionate about jewelry. I wanted to tell them the story about designs, about collections, inspirations, and so on. And I'm like, okay, if they say I write well, let me try writing. So you see, my writing was always something from the heart and from my inner desire to share knowledge. And I guess also because I'm a person of structure, I could write a nicely structured email or story and so on. And of course, once you start practicing, the more you practice, the more it becomes natural to you. And the more you feel like, okay, I can do this.
What did you learn from working with these maisons?
I think working in retail taught me the way I want to communicate about jewelry because, of course, there's different types of salespeople. And I remember some of my colleagues were quite pushy. They wanted to make that sale and they were really going for it. I was always selling by inspiration. I wanted to highlight the most advantageous parts and really listen to the client and take my time. I'm a person who likes to take time. I don't like to force things. And this was my style of selling. And that's why in my role, I gained lots of loyal clients who appreciated that I wasn't rushing them. I wasn't making them buy there and then. I was giving my all in terms of information and explaining even how to care for jewelry and things like that, giving them details they needed to make the final decision. And this is something I incorporated also in my work now, is that I like to show the most beautiful jewelry and inspire my audience to potentially own what I show. I don't want to say, oh my God, this is so beautiful, buy it. You have to go to this brand and see it. I want to show the best and give that person a decision. Like, what does it mean for me? Do I really like it? Do I have the occasion to wear it? Like, how shall I wear it? And do I even want to own it? Or maybe if I don't want it now, maybe I can come back later. So I brought this philosophy of not rushing things and giving time to things into my work. And that's why I see nowadays when new influencers come to the scene, they want things fast. They want to pop up, start their social and start charging brands for posting about them. And I'm like, no, it doesn't work like this. You have to prove yourself first, show that you're worth something, find your own style, find your tone of voice, find your personality, because we're all very different. All social media influencers, even in the jewelry world, we have our style, we have our audience, we have our way to show jewelry. So once you know who you really are and what you bring to the table, and once you prove yourself, then you can talk about value you bring to that brand you want to collaborate with, and then you can talk about charging them. So never rush to do things. And I've even learned that if I want to work with some brand on promoting and advertising their product, they said no to me now. It's not a no forever. Some companies who advertise through me now are the ones I met 5-6 years ago. And only 4-5 years ago, like Katerina, now we want to work with you because we are ready, because we have the collection we want to promote and so on. So always give time. That would be the advice. Yeah.
Your parents worked in antique. How did growing up in this environment influence you, or what did you learn?
So my mom, she is a restorer of paintings, and my father, he restores furniture. And obviously they come from the art background. And for me, I'm glad I discovered my form of art, which is jewelry. Because purely when I started writing about jewelry, I saw it as a form of art, and I do still now. And that's why on my channels, I prefer to highlight high jewelry. Because for me, it's very artistic. It has all the elements of art rather than commercial designs, which are quickly produced and quickly sold. I think being surrounded by amazing paintings, which you see in museums, really helped me to form the taste. I believe that one of the reasons for my success is having natural born taste in jewelry. And learning from my mom, how to create, how to turn something which is damaged into something beautiful. I don't know, to understand colors, to understand textures, and to understand balance and things. Because in jewelry design, for me, it's painting with gemstones, right? And I always look at a piece of jewelry and I try to understand, is this design balanced? Do they have the right proportions of, if it's a butterfly, does it have proportions of wings to the body of the butterfly? How do colors go together? Are they the right colors? How does the designer play on textures, or on contrast between like sparkling stones and non-transparent stones and so on? So I think this really helped me.
I know you have a son. Do you envision passing on your company to him?
I would love to, but I want him to discover his own passion and follow it, because there is nothing better in life than following your heart and doing something you love. Then you don't have to work a day in your life, right? As they say. But I can already see his interest in jewelry. Sometimes, rarely, but he comes with me to an exhibition or to a pop-up event, and his eyes sparkle when he sees all the precious stones and jewelry. He has his miniature collection of stones. I actually did some classes at his school as well. Every year I go to his school to teach kids a little bit about gems and jewelry. And it's so cute. It's so funny when they go, oh, this is boss. It's so beautiful, because kids can't retain this excitement. They just get it out there, and it's such a pleasure to see their eyes sparkle, and hopefully this will contribute to expanding our industry. Maybe some of those kids who saw jewelry now, they'll be a jewelry designer or a gem cutter, or I don't know, like they'll pursue their career in jewelry. I hope so, because I believe we need more professionals in our industry. There is not enough jewelry makers. There is not enough desirability to be one. Let's be honest. I hear it from many designers and brands. We can't find the right hands because there isn't enough of those people. And those who are good, they're so booked that we can't get access to them. So we need more really skillful and passionate people in the industry who would make jewelry.
Even if it doesn't follow your footsteps in jewelry, what do you hope to transmit to him?
So, Alex, I want to show him that you can turn your passion into a profession. That's all I want. I want him to be happy in his life and to pursue what he really enjoys. Because that's what really, I feel like I found the best thing I could for myself, because I wake up every day and I'm so obsessed with what I do is that I can't wait to start working, you know? And I think this is the best feeling, because there were times when I would wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I have to go to work. We all face those days. And when you wait for those weekends, when you can feel like you can do something of your own, when now it's the opposite, I'm like, oh my God, when can I start work? If I'm on a holiday, I'm like, oh, when is work starting? When can I start like working on my emails and my, creating content, taking photos, videos, thinking of new ideas, talking to my team, la la la. So it's a true passion. So I want him to discover the same.
You see lots of beautiful jewels all the time. Are you still sometimes surprised?
Of course. And it all comes to originality of the idea, of showcasing what I've seen before, say flower, but in a new unconventional way. Because as I explained, I love discovering designers who have their own DNA and their own take on design. And there are still lots of daring guys and girls out there who create jewelry their way. They don't try to create something commercial that will fit the tastes of people out there. They create something of their own, and then they find the right person who will appreciate their style. And this is actually what I say to all designers. Don't try to please people. Stay true to yourself and find the people who will enjoy what you create and who will love you for your own vision.
What are your upcoming projects, and what can we wish you?
I think to have the strength to continue this for many, many years ahead. Because frankly, this is a very challenging profession. It's hard to explain how much work goes behind the scenes, and I don't want to explain it. I want everyone to think it's effortless. It's a fairy tale, and it's true, you know? Because when you do something with love, it feels like, it's just like, another trip, another shooting, another editing session, another, interview and so on, right? But frankly, it's a very, very challenging job, especially if you do it at the level that I do. I'm very focused on quality. And when you go to the certain level, you can't step back. So I'm so obsessed with the crisp image, with the beautiful depiction of jewelry, with editing until I'm 100% happy, and with writing the text I'll enjoy reading myself and so on. Wish me to never lose this passion.
Do you have any advice for a young lady who wants to create her own path, like you?
I think the advice would be to understand what she really loves to do, to understand if it's something that is required in this world, if it's something that makes people happy. I think the reason why my idea was so successful, because it makes people's hearts beat faster when they see all this gorgeous jewelry. It indirectly augments their life in a way. I believe that truly. It helps people to enjoy beautiful things, and everyone wants to have that moment when they just can go and see something gorgeous and say, wow, this beauty exists in the world. How amazing is that? But also not to be too hard on themselves and give themselves time, because new ideas and being a pioneer takes time, takes courage, takes perseverance, and takes monetary investment. I was so lucky that first of all, I've saved up a little bit before I went on my own. I can live a very modest life. You know, I come from a family which didn't have much, and I come from Russia. Excuse me. You know, when we had life behind the closed walls, I remember those times when we were living on bread and butter, pretty much, and on spaghetti. You know, very basic things. And I'm never scared to, if I need to go back to that minimum like a very modest life to achieve something greater. I believe in sacrifice before you reach somewhere. So I think the bottom advice here, take your time, truly believe in what you're creating here, be brave and don't stop for at least first year, because it can be very tough and very demanding, but new ideas need to be shown and need to be explained before people feel the need for them. It is about being brave, because for a woman it's scary. Like, what if I don't get accepted? What if it's not gonna work? The only reason why I did it is because I was so obsessed with my work. I was and am still so obsessed with jewelry. I didn't care if it's not gonna work. I always did it for me. You know, even in the beginning, I never knew I would become a successful influencer. I always did it because I enjoyed it so much. I couldn't imagine my life without it. And maybe because of that, it worked out.
Women have a lot to manage. You are a mother, a wife, and a businesswoman. How do you juggle everything?
I have me as well, right? Because women entrepreneur, we have so much to deal with. We often forget about us. And that's what was happening. I was so focused on my goal to build something out of what I've created, to make it desirable and to achieve the level I wanted to, that for the first, say, 7 years, it was only work and family. Because obviously, family is important and work is important. And at some point, I reached the level when I'm like, where is me in here? I'm not doing anything for me. I was literally, say, I don't know if you want to, but I'll just tell you, I would go to an exhibition off the plane, sometimes, often directly to the exhibition. I would work those 5-6 days at the exhibition. On the last day, I would rush on my last flight to get back to the family. And then I would be with the family. And it's so exhausting that at some point I'm like, I cannot exist anymore like this. I am exhausted as a human being. I have no energy for this anymore. It's either I will start taking care of myself as well, or it will have to be finished. Either I'll have a nervous breakdown or burnout, because I've been through burnout. I know the signs. So that's when I started bringing me into equation. Going to the beauty salon, spending those few hours for massage and facial, because that's important. I'm my own brand. I'm not 30 anymore, 20, I have to look certain way. And I'm sorry, but I have to make a lot of investment into my personal image to, be the face of my brand. Then I'm like, what about my well-being in terms of physical level? It's physically very demanding to be at exhibitions, to travel so much, to always look and feel good, to be present there for your team on your work days, to be present for your audience at exhibitions. So of course, I had to introduce the workout regime. I work out 3 times a week at least, because it requires lots of physical abilities. I monitor my sleep, because if you don't sleep enough or you don't sleep well, you can't focus, you can't deliver, you not in a good mood simply, right? And I have to be positive. I have to be happy for my family and for my audience and for myself. And I realize in all that, like, why do we do all this? Why do we live on this life? To be happy. For me, this is my simple goal in life, to be happy. And whatever makes me happy, it doesn't have to be, I don't know, all the expensive things in life. That's not what brings me happiness. When I see people around me smiling, that's what does. And, that's all I want to achieve, through making my audience smile, through making my family smile, me as well. Because now there is 3 equations in this, 3 important things in life: family, work, and me too.
So your advice is to find a balance with family, self-care, and career.
Yeah, family also includes friends. We can't forget about our social life, and other people also need to see us. But as you mentioned before, it all comes to careful planning and to help. In my work, if in the past I was doing all myself and I could do this, now there is no way I can do things myself. I have 11 people in the team who help me daily on managing social media, running the website. I even have a PA who will book me the flights and take care of some of my personal things, because my day is so overboard with so many responsibilities that without each of those girls or guys, I cannot function. It has to be like a Swiss clock where each cog means something. Each cog is equally important. So thanks to my team, I can do this. That's why you said, you can write a book, you can do public speaking, you can do judging session, you can run your website, social media, be here and there, travel, and also take care of your family. And the final advice would be to continue being curious, to keep on educating yourself. Here we're talking about gems and jewelry, but in general, to carry on reading books and magazines and watching different informative programs, because the more we learn about the world, the more we broaden our horizons, the more we're curious about living this life, and learn something new every day is what motivates me, and I hope it will motivate many others.
So really, thank you, Katerina.
Bye, Anne. Thank you for having me. It was great pleasure to talk to you about jewelry. You can have me anytime talking about jewels and gems.
Thank you for listening to Brillante. I'm Anne Desmarais de Jotan, and I give a voice to jewelry every Sunday. And if you want to give a voice to your jewelry and brand, I would be delighted to help you create your own dedicated podcast or welcome you as a partner in my native podcast. I would appreciate your support. If you enjoy the podcast, please encourage me with a like, a rating or comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And please share it on your social media. See you next month on the Brillante podcast. And in the meantime of the Le Bijou comme un bisou podcast, alternating with Il était une fois le bijou podcast. Stay brillante.